everyone and welcome to the Anime Daily, and thank you for joining me as we go over what I would personally consider one of the best manga chapters from the We Never Learn series, and one that I would have no issue placing in the top 5 chapters of the series overall, whether that's looking at any of the Rizu routes, the Uraka routes, just anything from chapter 1 to chapter 164, which is a chapter that we're going to be talking about today. Now, I've said before that I really have enjoyed the emotional aspect from this route and from Furahashi's character, and this chapter gives us another brilliant emotional kind of example and display in the form of despair, as we finally see the arc, or the route so to speak, draw towards the Uraka confession part of the stage, where it leaves our blue-headed princess in a total mess after failing to admit her lie about her ankle being fully healed a long time ago, and feeling that the world is punishing her for receiving so much happiness and lying about it. So basically, the gist of it is, she believes that it's because she didn't tell Narayuki the truth that her happiness that she's been having all this time now is finally come crashing to an end, and she has finally lost, because Uraka is going to admit her feelings, and that is going to be game over for her. Now, Fumino was full of so much happiness, and she wanted to stay that way for pretty much forever, really. We can see that as the chapters progressed throughout this route, it was very evident in the dialogue that she was saying and what her inner thoughts were all about, and she'd even forgotten about everything else that was going on or that was going to happen. So when Uraka suddenly appeared, it made the impact and the suddenness of that all the more painful for Furuhashi to bear. She was so happy and so kind of in the moment that when she suddenly thought, oh, Uraka, and then she remembered that whole statement when they were making chocolates about how she's going to express her feelings to Narayuki once the exams are over, and there you had it. You see the smile go from a bright, cheerful, realistic smile to a very kind of, ha ha ha, yeah, it's a smile that was very, what's the word? It was nervous. She was almost laughing in despair at that point, and you saw her expression turn to a very sad look as she turned to walk away. I thought the expressions on her face in this scene were very telling. Very good as well. Another reason to why I love this chapter was the little bit of backstory about Yuiga's father that we get from the chapter. This is a character that is so important to our main protagonist, and yet we hardly know anything about Narayuki's father. And he's personality kind of reminds me of that of Koro-sensei or Nagisa from Assassination Classrooms, in the way that he would gain the respect of his students through hard work and honesty. He would try to approach everybody in the same way, no matter whether they were a delinquent or whether they were just a normal upstanding student. Everyone to him was equal. He gave everybody equally the same time and respect to everybody. Again, we see this with delinquents in the chapter, and he kind of made them come round with respect to the point where they accepted him, respected him, and was willing to learn from him. Which I thought was really good and really telling. It's a very good character trait from Narayuki's father that we kind of were alluded to, but this chapter just kind of gives us that. And there's one thing that I really do like is development from a main protagonist, and if it comes in the form of family members, all the more great. But again, another great gift from this chapter was Narayuki's character development, as this could play into the results of the Uraka confession that we get at the end of the chapter. And Yuiga himself is very conflicted towards the end. We didn't really see this in the Uraka route, so to speak, simply because we never had the focus on Narayuki from a character building towards his future type of point of view. That came quite early / middle stages of the manga, where towards the end of the Uraka route, it was more of Yuiga's kind of emotion development towards Uraka and whether or not he liked her. But this time, we kind of don't get that. We get the whole Yuiga looking to his future and not feeling like he's ready for it. He wants to catch up to his father and be just like him, and I mean, come on. Fumino helps him gain so much more confidence, so much self-belief, that it just helps Narayuki push forward. So why do I say this would tie into the love confession? Well, Yuiga states that nobody has ever said to him that it's okay for him to be himself and not like his dad. Obviously, Furuhashi said this and said that he would one day be a greater teacher than his father, which obviously would give him a huge confidence boost and maybe lighten a spark within Narayuki that would kind of be the same that was lit within Furuhashi back when Yuiga stated that he believes in her dream and is willing to help him push towards it. Okay, right, that's kind of a stretch because I'm saying that it might cause a kind of emotional reaction towards Furuhashi in Yuiga after hearing those words of confidence. It's an over-exaggeration, it might be a stretch, but hey, at this point, anything goes in these chapters because we've seen weirder things happen within this series. I mean, come on, do I have to remind you all of time-traveling boobs back with the Kirisu kind of chapter? Yeah. So saying that someone would get emotional feelings of love and commitment and passion towards somebody else for boosting their confidence and saying that they believe in them isn't too far off the imagination. And the last point I want to point out is some fantastic writing towards the end. And if you add up all of the emotion on display, the dialogue, the setting itself, and where the chapter ends, plus we know as readers from the Uraka timeline how things play out in this area. However, Furuhashi wouldn't know how this plays out from the Uraka arc because she wouldn't be reading it. But as readers, we can tell how it's going to kind of play out, or it might play out a little bit differently. But the thing is, Furuhashi is eavesdropping on this conversation. She can hear the confession and what Yuiga's reaction is going to be. Whether or not she 100% kind of gets it because she's too busy dwelling in self-pity and kind of the emotions, despair and all those other type of emotions are linked to that, that's to be decided. But what I really like is the presentation of this great cliffhanger. Because we have to wait 9 days for the next chapter. And what this chapter does is it really makes you hyped and gets you ready and wanting, almost begging for the next chapter to come so you can find out as readers what is going to happen next. Honestly, the detail and the art were amazing in this chapter, but the storytelling and the dialogue and development was something that I really did appreciate because it was some of the best that we've seen from the series thus far, and I think it did an amazing job in doing so. Obviously, you've all got your own thoughts, so I hope you'll let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you liked the chapter, let me know. If you didn't, let me know why. I'll be very interested to find out. Plus, if you liked the video, then obviously let me know by hitting that like button. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me. I do We Never Learn chapter reviews on a weekly basis, so if you like the series and you're a fan of that, then why not follow along and see what I have to say. And obviously join into the discussion as well. It'd be great to see what you as a fan think as well. Apart from that, I hope you all have an amazing day. Arigato, matane, goodbye.